Hello and welcome back to DBD Sports Show. Let's give it a round of applause. Alright, this will be our 5th episode of DBD Sports Show. And before we start off today, same thing as last week. Make sure you guys check us out on Instagram, Spotify, and Apple Music at DBD Sports Show. Brady, you want to start us off today?
Yeah, sure. We're going to get right into it. Patriots free agency. I said last week the Patriots wouldn't make the playoffs. I said a couple weeks back that Bill Belichick would never be back in the playoffs. But I do think this is a playoff team now with the addition of Smith, Hunter Henry, Kendrick Bourne, Nelson Aguilar. Especially the defense. I feel like the defense, we already had a strong secondary. And on top of that, we're getting stronger up front. And I feel like up front is where we really needed it because we were terrible in the run game. With the addition of Judon and the return of Hightower, Van Noy, I think our front seven is going to be highly improved.
Yeah.
For the offensive side, the tight end position is a key emphasis where we needed to build on from last year, especially since Gronk left.
Who did we have last year? What was it? Izzo, and then Ossie, whatever that kid's name was. And then there was another kid too. I don't remember his name, but I think we drafted 2 new kids last year.
And I mean, now we have 2 top 10 tight ends.
Right.
And they're going to help in the blocking too. So I feel like with Damian Harris.
Same thing with Jonnu Smith, though. He's so versatile. Yeah. He doesn't just play tight end. He takes snaps in the backfield. He plays wide out. He plays in the slot. He plays everywhere.
We're gonna benefit from them because we're gonna be able to run the ball, and I think it's
the play action game is gonna be so good.
And I think we're really gonna be able to get the ball out fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I didn't think the return of Kyle Van Noy, like Brady was talking about, that's a big time move. He thought he could escape the New England winters. I forget who said that, but he's back.
He's just a Patriot.
We re-signed David Andrews, the center, Nick Folk, our kicker, Dietrich Wise Jr., the defensive lineman, Cam Newton, obviously the QB, and Justin Bethel, the DB and special teams man. Yep. Daryl, do you think how far do you think the Patriots are going to go? Who do you think they should have added? Who do you think they still can add?
Well, honestly, these moves as a whole, I really like them. Mm-hmm. I mean, I do wish that they would have gotten a more marquee wide receiver. I think Nelson Aguilar is pretty good, but Kendrick Bourne, I'm a little iffy about.
Who is Kendrick? I've never even heard of him before.
Well, who's on the 49ers? He's not bad, but I don't think he's a huge improvement.
He's not a wide receiver one.
Well,
he's not a show.
But as for Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry, I love because this is getting us back to having 2 dynamic tight ends, and it was a great move by them by just getting literally the 2 best tight ends in free agency. Right. And these people are top 7. Obviously, Hunter Henry a couple years ago was a top 3 tight end in the league. Jonnu Smith last year, it was a little sporadic, but when he's playing well, he's very good. He's actually losing him is a huge loss for Tennessee. It really is.
So, speaking of Tennessee,
he could do everything.
Speaking of Tennessee, I was talking to Brady beforehand. Yep. I do not think the Titans are going to be making the playoffs next year.
They really.
I don't know about all that.
They took 2 steps back this year.
They lost Corey Davis, Jonnu Smith. Those are 2 huge names
and if you think about it, the last year Henry had 400 rushing attempts, and he says he wants to do it again this year. That's going to take a wear and tear on his body.
That's exactly why I think they're still going to make it because the offense revolves around.
But when Christian McCaffrey had so many snaps for Carolina, the next year he got hurt. So Derrick Henry might get hurt this year, even though he's a machine.
He's built different though.
He's a machine. I don't think he'll get hurt. But they cannot rely on Derrick Henry as much as they do. Especially they're going to have to rely on him more.
Corey Davis was such a big part of that offense too.
Derrick Henry rushed for 2,000 yards, and they need him to do more this year. Yeah. He rushed for 2,042, something like that, something crazy. Exactly. Everybody in the offense was gone. They need him to do more than he did last year, even though he not broke the record, but he joined the elite club of running backs that rushed for 2,000 yards.
Hot take. Derrick Henry's going to be the first player in NFL history to have 2 2,000-yard rushing seasons.
I think he will, but when do you think it'll be? Do you think it'll be
this year?
Back to back. Yeah.
Well, it has to be soon because he can't keep doing that deep in his career.
He'll be back to back, and that's going to be insane. He's a Hall of Famer.
A big name, probably. Knock on wood, hopefully nothing goes bad, but
2 or 3 more good years, maybe even 2.
Yeah.
How many years has he been in the league? I don't even know.
Since 16.
I think 4 or 5, 6
around there.
No, he's saying since 16.
Since 2016.
Oh, 16.
So
4 or 5.
A player that I do not believe we did not re-sign was J.C. Jackson, one of the big DBs that we need to resign. We placed a second-round tender on J.C. Jackson. So this basically means he is a free agent, but if another team bids on him and they receive J.C. Jackson, the Patriots receive a second-round pick in return. Yep. So I know Big Bob Tunyon in Green Bay, the tight end, they did a second-round tender on him, and he's a free agent. I actually thought that we were going to try and go after him and Zach Ertz this offseason. I was kind of, obviously everybody was talking about Hunter Henry, but I didn't think Jonnu Smith
I
at
think
all.
Hunter Henry's better than Zach Ertz right now. Jonnu Smith's better than Zach Ertz
I definitely
right now.
agree. But
Yeah.
Zach Ertz just got they just allowed him to seek free agency not too long ago. Like it wasn't even the beginning of free agency. So they kind of messed him over on that because he doesn't have the same opportunities as anybody else. But I definitely agree that we definitely needed a wide receiver 1. But my thing is, all these wide receivers that were free agents this year, I liked them, especially Kenny Galladay, but I don't think I would want any of them because Kenny Galladay is good, but he's not starting every game of the season. You know what I mean? Same thing with Will Fuller. He's not starting every game. Juju Smith-Schuster, he might be, but he doesn't fit the Patriots. I don't think there was any chance that he would end up on the Patriots. He doesn't fit. He was going to end up, I think, what was it, the Ravens?
Jets.
The Chiefs offered him.
Yeah.
The Jets offered him. And then he's back on the Steelers, which I think is crazy. The Chiefs offered him and he said no.
I know.
And I didn't even think they had money
He
like
dances on
that.
so many logos. Because he dances on so many logos,
agree.
he doesn't want to go to a different team.
That's true.
You're going to get jumped in the locker room or something.
I forget what I was going to say. So yeah, I definitely think, because Kenny Galladay is so good, Will Fuller is good, but I don't think Will Fuller could be a solid wide receiver 1. He might have on the Patriots because we have good receivers to complement him, and the 2 tight ends are going to take pressure off
I
him.
feel like Will Fuller slept on. I really like him as a receiver.
I like Will
definitely
Fuller
slept
too.
He's
but
really good.
But he's injured too.
Yeah.
Same thing with Kenny
Didn't
Galladay.
he get
why-
suspended this year?
Yeah,
Isn't
he's
that why he
PEDs.
missed time?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's missing time next year
I don't
too.
think he missed time for injury. I thought it was suspension.
I thought he
Yeah,
got
suspension and stuff like that. I mean, he did have an injury earlier, but the bulk of his time that he missed was because of
It's not big
It's
injuries.
PEDs.
It's not
Yeah.
big injuries. It's just
He's a
it's
good
just
receiver.
not fatigue, but it's just tiredness kind of in his muscles, so he takes games off sometimes. But it's for the Patriots, we need that guy that's always going to be there. Because Edelman, besides his past few years, he was pretty much always there. Wes Welker, before his concussions, he was always there. Tom Brady always had his guy pretty much. So I definitely think if we're going to get a receiver, I don't know if we should draft one. I think our best chance would probably be draft one because Brady was saying that you don't think we're going to trade for one.
I think Bill Belichick might use that first pick as a defensive pick.
Really?
I don't see him taking an offensive player unless it's a quarterback in the first round.
So I figured out, Daryl, do you think that what do you think we should do with that first pick? What is it, 15?
Yep.
Yeah, 15.
Yeah, QB, if QB maybe, depending on what they do with the QB situation.
Yeah.
If let's say they don't sign someone like Mariota, which we'll talk about later, but let's say they don't sign someone like him, maybe get Mac Jones, so that you can, if Cam Newton because Cam Newton obviously is on a shorter leash this season, so if he plays bad the first few games, you can give him a try or something like that. Maybe a QB or something like that.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I heard that we might try and trade it for Trey Lance, which would be great, but I don't feel like
I don't know
if
about that.
Mac Jones is there, we don't really need to trade up for Trey Lance because Mac Jones is sitting on our lap basically at 15. If he doesn't go earlier than he should, but I was talking to Brady that what if, because say we get Mac Jones with that pick, Alabama guy, we have Damian Harris who is an Alabama guy, and then say we trade up and get another late first round, what if we pick up Najee Harris out of Alabama? So we have 3 Alabama guys in our backfield, which would be crazy because they were all on the same team at one point. Najee Harris was just in Alabama 2 years ago, and we desperately need running back help because James White, the Bucs were looking at James White. We were talking to Fournette and Chris Carson, but Chris Carson just got re-signed to the Seahawks. So really all we have right now is Damian Harris for sure because is Sony
He had a
Michel
good
free
year
agent?
last year, though.
He did have a
He
good
almost
year.
had 1,000 yards.
He did have a good year. Rex Burkhead, I think we might have not re-signed him yet, but he's still just there. Same with Sony Michel. I don't know if Sony Michel's on contract.
He's
right
a
now.
bum.
Is he on contract?
He's terrible. It doesn't
not
even matter.
terrible.
He's terrible.
He's not terrible.
He's terrible.
He's not.
He's by no means terrible.
He's not.
so
He's
bad.
good
He's
for a
so bad.
Patriots
He's just
running back, but
inconsistent.
he's not
He's
good
very
for the rest of the
inconsistent.
league.
He's just
He's
inconsistent.
slow too. He's not.
That's
fast.
what I mean. I'm not saying he's a bum, but he's just so
He's not
slow getting
slow.
into the holes and stuff.
So
He's not a runner. He's not a RB1.
do you think, Darryl? Do you think that we could trade up for a wide receiver in the first round?
I don't know how much they're gonna prioritize that though. But I mean, it's definitely I feel like the Patriots feel. I feel like after all these moves the Patriots made, I don't know if they're gonna want to do that per se. I feel like now they're probably gonna be focused on the QB situation and seeing who they want to have in that room on Cam Newton.
I agree. So I definitely, actually, I don't know why I just thought of it now. We most likely won't go for a wide receiver 1 just because they probably have faith in N'Keal Harry, have faith in Jacoby Myers, and Julian Edelman will most likely be signing a 1 or 2 year deal because he wants to retire as a Patriot. So right now, as we have all these guys in contract right now, I think we won't worry about a wide receiver one because we have two basically tight end ones at the tight end position, three good solid wide receivers, and then if N'Keal Harry grows to be a great wide receiver, he could be the wide receiver one, or if Nelson Aguilar steps up, same with Jacoby, or 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, there's going to be a whole new wide receiver market. So then we can figure it out then or in the draft then. So besides the Patriots, which team basically won free agency in a way? Like, who do you think had the best free agency?
So I'll put this between like the Cardinals, Kansas City, and I'd even say the Bucks, right? So the Bucks not even like free agents per se, but like just don't like keeping the people that they needed to.
Like they're just the off season, basically.
Yeah, just the off season in general. Like the Bucks keeping David and Shaq Barrett, I don't think anyone thought they were gonna do that. So I didn't think they were gonna do that, to be honest with you. So like just doing that like is a huge move because like they're basically like, keeping intact that defense. Kansas City just getting Joe Thuney, we're gonna miss him. Just getting him because like when they lost Eric Fisher, I thought like
what was the other guy's name? Eric Fisher and I don't remember the other guy.
I forgot the other one, but like they obviously lost two. But Joe Thuney is very good and like he's gonna help protect Mahomes. And I like the Cardinals so far a lot. Like so AJ Brown, like they talked about this off air, but AJ Green, sorry. Like AJ Green, they're gonna have like a scary offense with him as well. Like especially if like Larry Fitzgerald comes back, and Larry Fitzgerald hasn't really showed signs of him being like a terrible receiver, even though he's old. Having him and obviously having Hop, like that can be a good combination.
Yeah, there was a graphic and it basically showed the Cardinals' offense, and it was Kyler Murray. It was Kenyon Drake, but now Kenyon Drake's gone, so they might try and get a running back there or draft a running back because they have the pick after us, so they could go for Najee Harris. You know what I mean? And then it was either Christian Kirk, if Larry Fitz come back, D-Hop, and AJ Green. And you were saying that they probably aren't.
That's a solid.
Do you think? What do you about now? Because are they more of a contender now, or do you think they're still going to go like 8-9? Because now it's a 17-game season, I believe. Yeah. So do you think they're still going to be like the 8-8, 8-9 team?
No, I think they'll definitely be better than last year, especially because JJ Watt's there now with Chandler Jones coming back.
They have to be better.
They're going to be better.
If not, then that's sad.
Because that's two big defenders coming back. Like,
right.
JJ Watt is a problem. But they did lose
Pat Pete because Pat Pete went to the Vikings.
Yeah.
But still, so Kansas City, I definitely agree. But I 100% agree that the Bucks were the winners because they brought their whole Super Bowl roster and just kept them right in Tampa. Nobody left. The only people that are left to re-sign are Ndamukong Suh and Antonio Brown.
Yeah, like.
So we don't. Yeah. Do you think Antonio Brown's going to stay, or is he going to go to a team?
I don't think he'll play anywhere else. To be honest.
You think he's going to retire?
Yeah. No, I think he's going to try to stay with the Bucks.
I mean,
I as soon as we thought the Chiefs were like, everyone's like, oh, it's over. They go load up on offensive line.
Yeah, so the Chiefs got Joe Thuney,
they did really good in free agency too.
For the O-line. What were you saying?
They really loaded up their line. Everyone thought it was over, and they're right back.
I mean, I don't think they should not have released Eric Fisher because Eric Fisher was a great lineman. They still could
that wasn't smart.
It's a big injury though to come back from.
They could have brought in all these pieces, but still, they keep Eric Fisher. They bring in these pieces.
He was a first overall pick. I'm pretty sure, like number
overall
one, first overall in like 2013. I'm pretty sure he was first overall.
He was.
First overall pick.
Yeah, it was first overall.
So just some of the things that went on in free agency. The Packers re-signed Aaron Jones. I don't think any of us thought that was going to happen at all. It just seemed like they didn't have the money to do it.
Yeah.
But you know the Packers were like a top 3 offense last year? Which I think is insane because they're always talking about how Aaron Rodgers needs offensive help. Which, he could use more of like the big name players, kind of like how we're talking about in New England. We could use that, but Aaron Rodgers was doing just fine in Green Bay with the help that he had with MVS, Allen Lazard, Devontae Adams, and now I believe Jamal Williams just went to Detroit, right? Am I right on that?
Yes, I think that's correct. I
think they need to focus more on defense than anything. The Giants just signed Kenny Golladay. Well, it was like a $40 million.
Move for him.
It's a lot of money.
$40 million guaranteed, $72 million contract, up to $76 million for 4 years, which is insane. So their offense,
and they have so many other pieces. They need to.
I need to look it up.
They need to build on so many different positions, and they just paid him that much money,
Well, they also got John Ross from the Bengals. He ran with a 4.22 or something like that. Insane.
Yeah, he's fast.
But he's hurt all the time. When he ran his 4.22, he pulled his hamstring the day of the draft, right after the 40. But yeah, it was it was another graphic. It was like what their offense was, and it was Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley's coming back, Sterling Shepard, Evan Ingram, Kenny Galladay and John Ross. So they could have a good team.
That is true.
It just depends. But Kenny Galladay gets hurt all the time. John Ross gets hurt all the time. Sterling Shepard and Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram was hurt a lot.
Yeah.
So their team can be good.
Might even be 100%.
Do you feel like
you
guys feel like
100%?
Do you guys feel like the Jets getting Corey Davis kind of gives us a hint that they're going to go after like a Zach Wilson? Like they're definitely going to draft him now.
I don't know if that's more of a hint towards Zach Wilson. I just think it's like Bob Sala's like, all right,
we got to load up.
We need to load up. They need it. I don't even know how much money they have. I think they're like top 10, top 5-ish. I know they're not at the top.
Yep.
Because I don't even know who was at the top, to be honest. I really have no idea. But then the Dolphins signed Will Fuller to a 1-year deal. I think this is going to be like a prove-it year. So it's like he's testing out the market this year. See if he has good. How long is the suspension? Is there even a suspension?
I think it's like 8 games. I think it was last year.
I don't know if he did it all last year, though.
I feel like I feel like some of it's going to go in a little bit into next season, but I'm not completely
sure. It was
sure.
8 games. I thought I read 8 games.
I think it's a 4-game suspension at the beginning of this year, so 4 games left. But even though they have a good young team, Steelers re-signed Juju. The Broncos signed the DB Kyle Fuller from Chicago, which is a great, because now they have Justin Simmons, the defensive back, and Kyle Fuller, and they have Bradley Chubb and I forget some of their defensive pieces, but if you look at the Broncos' defense, that's a good defense. The Raiders get Kenyon Drake, so now they have Kenyon Drake and Josh Jacobs going dual threat in the backfield, which is a good 1-2 punch. Kind of like how Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams were 1-2 punch in Green Bay. They might try and... Derek, do you think they're going to go for like how Aaron Jones would sometimes kind of sit out the third quarter, let Jamal Williams cook, and then Aaron Jones comes back in for the fourth? Do you think they're going to do that with Josh Jacobs and Kenyon Drake?
Honestly, I feel like they're probably going to give the keys to Josh Jacobs. I mean, like, Jacobs, too, sometimes can be inconsistent, but like, I feel like they'll probably have more faith in him. I mean, like, I feel like they want to make him like that, like, bona fide RB1. Mm-hmm. But like, sometimes Josh could be like a little inconsistent. But, I mean, they definitely are going to feature Kenyon. Like, yeah, they're definitely going to feature him, bro.
He was good in the beginning of the season, but I felt like his hype kept going, but his production kind of fell off in Oakland.
Yep.
And then the Titans got Bud Dupree. I think they severely overpaid for Bud Dupree from the Steelers. What is he, a linebacker, right?
Yep.
Yes.
But we were saying that most of his production is coming when he's not blocked. Like, if you watch the tape, he's not blocked on a high percent of his snaps.
Yeah, because the Steelers had I think a lot of the reason why the Steelers had that streak last year is because their defense is really good.
Their pass rush was very good.
The pass rush is really
T.J. Watt. I mean,
T.J. Watt is like arguably faced a lot of injuries, but like
T.J. Watt should have got Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, he should have. But like you're saying, like he didn't have as much attention, so that made Bud like have more space to really do what he does. But let's see now when he's like kind of the focal point. Like let's see what happens.
I think he's definitely good, but I don't think he's worth as much as he got paid. Same with the wide receivers.
He got paid top 5. Yeah,
we might have talked about it last episode, but I don't remember. But the reason why the wide receivers were still on the board for this long was because they're asking for more than they wanted. Yeah. I know we talked about it off air, but I don't know if we said it on the show. But yeah, basically, the receivers, especially Will Fuller, Kenny Galladay, wanted a ton of money. They wanted starter money, but they're not always starting the games. So they're sitting out 4 to 6 games a year, and teams can't have that, so they didn't want to pay him as much as they wanted.
Exactly.
And then the Buffalo Bills got Emmanuel Sanders from the 49ers, which is a good, speedy wide receiver because they lost John Brown. Has John Brown been signed?
I don't know. I don't actually know.
And I feel like the Chargers.
But Sanders is definitely a good replacement.
Yeah, the Chargers gave up Hunter Henry, but they got Jared Cook in return.
No, Jared Cook.
He fumbles a lot. He drops the ball.
He fumbled twice or something like that in the NFC Championship.
Yeah,
the NFC Divisional.
He cost the Saints a few games. He really did. He really did cost the Saints a few games.
He's better than what the Patriots had last year.
He's not consistent, but he's better than what the Patriots had. He's right.
And then, so for QBs, the Buffalo Bills bring in Mitch Trubisky. Daryl, what are they even doing? Like, what do you think this is?
So I think this is going to be a situation where, like, I think Mitch and his team probably didn't think that, like, they had anywhere like that he could kind of focus on, like, starting at. So, and the Bills did a great job developing Josh Allen. So I think this is going to be kind of, like, similar to Jameis Winston, like, how he was, like, sitting behind Drew Brees and like, kind of watching and learning. I think Mitch is going to, like, kind of sit behind in that system, kind of like try to develop. Yep. It's going to be like a short thing, and like after
trade
try to like, find a starting place. Because the Bills did a great job developing Josh Allen.
And then the Texans brought in Tyrod Taylor. That could be poor Tyrod. He was in He was in. I forget the other teams that he was. Where else did Tyrod Taylor play? Do you remember, Tara?
Played the Bills.
Chargers.
Yeah, he played in the Bills. Then Josh Allen came in, so he left the Bills. He won the Chargers.
Yeah,
Then Justin Herbert came in. Then he left the Chargers. Now he's in Texans on Houston. So hopefully he gets a starting job. Maybe, maybe not. The Bears bring in Andy Dalton, and Andy Dalton said the main reason why he went to the Bears because they only offered him $10 million.
Yeah.
Exactly. Some teams offered him more, but in Chicago they said he was going to be the for sure QB1. And then Washington brings in Fitzmagic. So we got Ryan Fitzpatrick and Taylor Heineke. They're basically the same person, I feel like. Like, they're both good quarterbacks. They're both, I feel like, a little nuts. But Fitzmagic could help Taylor Heineke a lot because we were saying that he might be the Jeremy Lin because he has that one good game. Because Jeremy Lin had, obviously, the stretch. But Fitzmagic might come in, teach him the ropes, and then just he'll be a way better quarterback. And then the Raiders released pretty much their whole offensive line. I don't know if you guys caught it, but they released every single position on the offensive line. And I think they've only re-signed like a center and a tackle. So I don't know what they're doing for Derek Carr, but John Gruden should not be the GM. He's a terrible GM. And then, yeah, just the Titans. Do you think they're going to make the playoffs next year, Daryl? The Titans?
Of course. Why wouldn't they? I mean, like,
do you think they'll be a wild card? Do you think they'll win the division?
No. I don't know if they're going to win the division again.
Because
they
got the Colts, right, in the division?
I think Colts are winning that.
Well, yeah, they'll probably be a wild card, but they're going to make it. Like, because honestly, bro, like, John Smith and Corey Davis, like, yeah, they made plays, but the offense literally revolves around Derrick Henry. Like, that's like, he just completely, like, the offense revolves around. If he was gone, then that's a different story.
Right.
But John Smith, for instance, didn't do anything the last. John Smith, for instance, didn't do anything the last stretch of the season. He didn't. He was just mad and consistent. And then Corey Davis that's a huge loss. But like, still, I mean, AJ Brown can step up even more. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And like, it's still not the start of next season yet, so we don't know what type of moves like the Titans still have in store. Right. I'm guessing they'll probably get like another receiver.
I want us to bring in Corey Davis just because Corey Davis and Johnny Smith already had that connection, and Corey Davis could be our wide receiver one. I like him a lot, but then again, with Julian Edelman, I want N'Keal Harry to be good because I think he has the frame, he has the body type to be a great wide receiver, but he just hasn't yet. So, quarterback's making $10 million, Marcus Mariota. So, Marcus Mariota right now in Oakland, he would have to take a pay cut down to $8 million from $10, but if he becomes a starter, he would instantly make $20 million a year. Do you think he's going to stay in Oakland, or do you think he's gone?
No, I think Oakland's definitely letting him go because he's not taking that pay cut.
Yeah.
There's no way.
I don't blame him.
Yeah.
There's no way he should scoop down to 8 when he has starter talent.
Yeah.
I think, Darryl, do you think the Patriots will pick him up? Do you think they'll even look at Mariota?
I think they should look at him. I mean, honestly, I heard before Dawn too. Like, I heard Bears were even looking at him, but like, I think teams like the Bears and Washington should have even been aggressive towards him because I think Mariota's better than Fitz and he's better than Dalton.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, he's definitely underrated. He's definitely like could fill in like a good quarterback position. Like, I mean, the reps he got last year, he did a great job. So I definitely think he's underrated, and he shouldn't stoop down to like the position where he's like taking a pay cut like that to stay on a team that's not even like too consistent.
Do you guys think if he does come here, then we will have to renegotiate the contract?
Down from
or do you
20?
think we'll give him the $20 million if he starts?
I think we'll try and renegotiate it down to like 15, 18 if anything. But he's going to want his 20. He's been sitting at 10 for this whole time. So yeah, it's an upgrade. But he's been saying pretty much, they've been telling me as soon as I become a starter, I'm making that $20 million. And then for him to come to New England and be like, listen, we know you said $20 million, but we needed you to bring it down a little bit. Because we have the cap space, we don't really need to negotiate it down. But, because they're definitely not trading Carr. They're not trading Derek Carr, right?
Yeah.
Even like Daryl said, the game he played really good. Like, he kept him in the game.
Exactly.
He drove the ball.
If it wasn't for Fitzmagic's
made plays.
Crazy throw when his helmet got yanked off his head. And then Mariota's becoming a free agent next year. So honestly, he could take the $8 million and then really test out from the beginning to the end of free agency next year instead of just, obviously it's still the beginning of free agency, but like all the big name players are kind of off the board. So do you think he's going to try and hold out to next year so we can really get that free agency chance, or do you think he's like, no, I need to get off? Darren, what do you think?
Oh, I think he's gonna be like, I have to leave, like because there's no reason why, like, he's too talented to like just to be like a backup like that, you know? Like, I think he should either be somewhere like where he's like, because like the Raiders are obviously like all in on Derek Carr, which is fair because Derek Carr had a great season last year, but Mariota should either be somewhere where he's like bona fide starter or like in a quality competition. Like, I mean, like he could be a starter sometimes, he could like not be, but like he's not like a backup per se.
Because
like,
Derek Carr is like the clear cut starter for them.
Exactly.
He's had multiple good years.
Which is fair.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah,
think
which is fair, but like, yeah.
who's the better backup, Mitch Trubisky or Marcus Mariota?
Marcus
I
Mariota.
like Marcus Mariota.
I like Marcus Mariota too, just because of his dual threat ability.
Yeah.
Because he
Yeah.
has some
That
wheels on him.
90-yard run.
I forget.
like 3 years
he
ago.
ran like what was it, a 4.5, 4.6, something like that, low 4.7s. He had a great 40 time. I think he can be a great quarterback. So Russell Wilson, I think it's safe to say he's definitely staying in Seattle.
Yeah.
There's no way he's leaving
He's
the Seattle Seahawks. The
But
Bears.
Yeah,
I
like
feel
I
like
said,
they
he
still
wasn't-
need
he
to
wasn't
do
leaving
more
this
for
year.
running back.
The Bears offered Russell Wilson, the Seahawks, 3 first-round picks, 1 third-round pick, and 2 starters just to get Russell Wilson down to Chicago. I don't think there's one team that could offer more than Chicago did to Seattle. I really don't. And then I think the starters were Kyle Fuller, the DB, and another DB, Buster Skyron, because they both got released shortly after that. I thought it was maybe like a Mitch Trubisky, like, well, listen, we'll give you Mitch Trubisky and maybe Kyle Fuller and then the extra picks. But do you think he's just going to stay in Seattle?
He's staying. But
Yeah.
they need to address the running back because last year it felt like they still didn't
Chicago?
think. No, Seahawks.
Oh, Seahawks.
It feels like they didn't, at the time, they didn't think Chris Carson was enough.
Yeah.
But then they re-signed him, so like, I don't know. Do
I
they
don't
do
think-
something more there, or
I
do
don't
they
know
stick
if-
with him?
I don't know if they didn't think it was enough. Just Russell Wilson just never wanted to run
I
the
know,
ball.
which is weird to me. Like, I feel like, especially now that he's not threatening to leave, but there's rumors. Like, you think they would really
do
start
what he wants.
Do what he wants, exactly.
So they were probably going to do what he wants, but that's going to end up the same way it did this year with not winning as much games.
Yep.
Because they could have won more games than they did, but Russell Wilson always wanted to air the ball out. Darryl, do you think they're going to stick to the same offense that they did this year, or do you think they're going to adapt, and who are they going to adapt for?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't know exactly what they're gonna do, but they definitely can't stick to the same offense they had last year. I mean, when people are literally coming out saying like that, like
It
the
was
Seahawks,
easy.
like they could figure it out. Yeah, it was easy to figure out. So I mean, like they have to make some type of changes, but like I don't know which direction they're gonna go in. And also too, like you mentioned this like a few episodes ago, but the chemistry between Wilson and the line could even be off too, because like I mean, he did kind of like expose them and like kind of like
He just
basically
called
said
them
not
out.
good.
Like, he can't just
So,
return
I
to
mean-
that and act like nothing happened.
Yeah, so that's definitely that's definitely gonna be like a bit of like a broken relationship there. So I mean, I don't know, like
They're probably
hopefully
going to...
like DK has a crazy season or something.
Like,
I mean,
I feel
Tyler
like they're-
Lockett does not get as much
I
appreciation.
feel like their offense, like, they're either throwing to one of the two guys. Like,
Right.
Like-
But I think they might try and target some offensive linemen in the draft, just so it's kind of like a new start for Russell. You know what I mean? So he doesn't have to deal with, not him dealing, but so the old linemen don't have to deal with him, even though he just threw them all under the bus.
I still feel like they're not gonna just let him like get destroyed.
No. I'm just saying, like,
They don't want to play
because
for him,
obviously,
like, talking
obviously
trash
they're going to be
or
mad, but they're going to play as good as they can
Yeah.
because they need their stock to go up. Deshaun Watson. What's going on? So due to all the recent allegations and news surrounding Deshaun Watson, do you think it's more likely for him to stay in Houston or leave, Brady?
I think he lost all his leverage. I
Yeah.
think he's if he's gonna play. It doesn't seem like teams are losing interest in him because I know teams still tried to go after him.
Yeah.
But I feel like when
there
it's all said and done, I feel like he's gonna have to stay in Houston.
There was an undisclosed team, so we don't know what team it was, but right after everything started coming out, they offered right away. But they offered at a little lower cost. But we know how good of a player he is. So if he does get the chance to get back on the field, it's not going to be for nothing. Darryl, do you think he's going to stay or do you think he's leaving now?
I mean, well, if he plays in the NFL next year, or if he doesn't get suspended, he's gonna have to stay in the Texans. I mean, like I don't think he has like Brady said. Like I think all of his leverage is gone at this point, and I mean it's possible like he's suspended or even worse. I mean, it's a tough situation for sure. So like I mean like definitely like a trade to like his preferred destination is kind of like the last thing on his mind right now.
They're not giving him what he wants at this point.
Right.
No
Yeah.
way.
It's a tough situation for sure.
Because the Texans,
Could this roll into next year? Because if he gets suspended,
what do you
he
mean?
sits
Could
out.
roll it? Oh,
And then next year he tries to do the same thing he did this year, try to get traded again. Do they hold out again, or do they give him what he wants next year if he gets suspended?
I don't know. I mean, they can't give him what he wants. What he wants is to be a part of the organization, and they go behind his back for every single decision.
Yeah.
So that's why he's mad. He's not mad at his pay because he just signed a new contract, right? Like 2 years ago,
Last year,
something like that.
1 year ago.
So he's not mad at that. He's mad at the decisions that were.
No, I know. Yeah.
He's such a good quarterback. Like, it doesn't seem real, but like obviously it is from what we know. All right, so we're going to go back to the rapid-fire team wheel. Daryl, do you want to start off, or do you want to start off?
I went first last time.
I'll start.
All right, so Daryl. Oh, sorry, let me just start recording it. Oh, Deshaun. I wanted him on the Patriots so bad. All right, here's my thing. This is why I thought that Deshaun Watson could end up at the Patriots. This was before everything came out. So Jack Easterby used to be a part of the Patriots organization. Him and Belichick already had that instant connection. Jack Easterby was a preacher. He goes on stage, preaches. It's like a preacher comedy thing. It's so weird. Cam Newton, man of the Lord, very religious. Same with Jack Easterby. They were making friendly trades at the whole beginning of the offseason, just with like little deals between the Texans and the Patriots. And Miami was doing the same thing. So that kind of strengthened the Deshaun to Miami topic. But if Deshaun Watson was to go to any team, even though they said they didn't want to trade him anywhere, it's going to be to a friend up here in New England. I really thought, because we're one of the only few teams that can still afford Deshaun Watson. There's not many of the teams that can't, because we backloaded a lot of the deals that were recently signed. So we still have a ton of cap to spend this year. So we can still go for a big-name quarterback. But I really thought it could happen. I got so excited. You don't even know. All right, so Daryl, the rapid-fire team wheel. Your team, what do the Colts have to do this offseason to get better?
So you want to like really see like it's not even about. So you want to first like see where Wentz's head is at, and you really want to. And I'm not even talking about like moves like the team necessarily has to make. I mean, maybe you want like a better like receiver than like Pittman like, to be a number one, but like even like on top of like all that, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to see where Carson Wentz's headspace is. You want to try to get the chemistry with him quickly, and like you want to ask him like a few questions like what went wrong in Philly and why did it, and what can we do to help you to get better. So you gotta like. I'm talking about starting now. Like it's a big deal because honestly, like Carson Wentz can't play like the way he did last year, and you expect to go far. So you really got to start like developing that relationship fast. And it does help that Carson Wentz already had a relationship with Frank Reich and stuff like that.
Right.
So like you're really starting to hope that like you can figure out like why he didn't play well and like what you can do to fix it. And if Carson Wentz can play like he did like his MVP season, the Colts can definitely make some noise. But that's my main like thing. Like you gotta like. First, do whatever.
That defense is set. Their running backs are set.
Yeah, the defense is set.
Just all depends
on
the QB.
Yeah. So you got to do like whatever he needs. Give him whatever he needs offensively, so he can be comfortable and just figure out what his problems were and what you can do to fix it.
So Carson Wentz actually went on the Pat McAfee show. I think it was Friday. So yesterday at the time of filming this, and he was in person on the show, and he was talking about basically like what you were saying, like what went wrong in Colts. In Philly, like. What he thinks about it, and I like him now, and I wanted nothing to do with Carson Wentz besides him being better than Jared Goff, but he sounded like a really good quarterback. Like he knows exactly what went wrong, he knows how to fix it. So, and he even said during the season, I think they were in Green Bay. He said the first time he got benched and he was watching the game instead of playing, he started having the thoughts like, all right, maybe this place isn't for me. I think the Colts are easily the best place that he could have ended up.
Yeah, this is the best opportunity.
Bird, do you want to go, or do you want me to go?
It's up to you.
All right,
I'll go, yeah.
All right. So, Brady, what do the Saints, what do the Saints have to do to get better this offseason?
They just signed Jameis, right?
Yes.
Yes.
They need to address the wide receiver issue because I don't think they're going to be able to sign Michael Thomas. Or they will now because they cleared up the cap space.
Well, he's already on contract. So
he's already on the contract?
Yeah, they don't have to worry about re-signing him.
I don't know. I still feel like you need to maybe bring in another quarterback. They just signed Taysom Hill too, though, but they signed him to a huge contract.
It was too much.
I feel like they I don't know.
I feel like Jameis can be good because he just had the eye surgery. If it was as bad as we say it was, because he can throw the ball.
I still say you can't trust Jameis Winston. Like Daryl said, you need to see where he's at.
Right.
Just like Carson Wentz.
Right.
Because I mean, if you look at it, he had a good season, and a terrible season at the same time.
That's why the preseason is so vital.
Exactly. I feel like they need to do the same thing with him. And I feel like after sitting behind Drew Brees for a year, I feel like. And Sean Payton is the type of guy to run an offense and do creative play calls. So, I feel like he'll still thrive in that offense.
Yeah.
So, maybe you do stick with Jameis Winston, but I feel like they need a backup plan, too.
All I know is if they have Taysom, there's no way I'm picking up Kamara in fantasy.
I know.
Because when Kamara was starting, I lost to Daryl and I lost to you because of it.
Yeah,
and he didn't lose again.
Didn't lock his potential.
And I didn't lose again after that. Shout out the champion. All right, so for me, what do let's see. The Chiefs, What do the Chiefs have to do this free agency? Honestly, nothing. They just got their offensive line. They have a great quarterback. They don't really need to focus on the running back position because they got a good young running back in Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I think they just released Damian Williams, though. But their wide receivers, are set. Tight ends are set. Their whole offense is perfect. If anything, maybe it's just some D-line to get pressure on the opposing quarterbacks because they didn't get a ton of pressure on Tom Brady. But maybe bring in some DBs, but really just focus on the defense because their offense, everybody knows the Chiefs' offense is amazing.
They're going to be good. They're going to be a good team.
Darrow, do you think the Chiefs need to do anything? Like, what do they need to do? Because they already brought in offensive line help.
Don't fix what isn't broken.
Right. They brought in offensive line help, unless they want to target like a running back to replace Damian Williams, which they really don't need to. Unless they want to do that, because I think
not a running team.
Is fine.
Nothing they do at this point.
Unless they want to add it, even they don't really need anything. It gets crazy. Like,
they don't need anything.
Maybe
Same with the Bucks. The Bucks don't need anything.
Like, add a little. Maybe you want to add a little extra to the defense, though. Maybe you want to add a little extra to the defense.
I think if anything,
offensive straight.
Anything they do at this point is just going to help them. Like they don't need anything, but anything they do is just going to help them. So
yeah,
and they have the best quarterback in the league right now. So
it's insane. Could have been Deshaun. Not anymore. All right, we're in March. March Madness is going on. There's been a few upsets so far, like Oral Roberts over Ohio State. Ohio State actually had a 97% chance to win that game. They ended up losing, I think, by 3 or by 2 on 2 missed three-pointers. Brady, what do you think about that?
Mm-hmm.
What happened? Crazy. What happened with Ohio State?
I mean, it just comes down to the final shots. You make some, you miss some, and he just didn't make them. And I feel like that's fine.
Yeah.
But then we get the fans after the game in his DMs telling him to die, all this stuff. We see you on campus, we're going to kill you. I just feel like I mean, it's happened. He's human too, and I feel like at the end of the day, he has to go home and he has to deal with the fact that he lost the game for his team too. And I feel like that just adds on to it. Like, there's just no need for it.
The thing is, though, they're the fans. He's the one playing.
Exactly.
They're not good enough to even make it to the spot that he's at. And obviously, he's not a pro yet, but he's playing for a great Division I college, Ohio State. Great basketball team. They were in the number 2 seed in their conference. They're the ones watching him. They have no room to talk. Everybody's going to miss.
He seems like a down-to-earth guy. He seems like a good guy. He said, I've never done anything in my life to hurt someone in any way that they would say this to me.
Right.
Like, it's just like...
It's just they're salty fans, but they have no room to talk. They really have no room to talk. But there's always been some controversy around March Madness. Darryl, do you want to cover the topic? What's stirring the pot in March?
So also like there was like some like weight room disparities. Basically the men's weight rooms like were filled like an actual weight room, and the women's weight rooms did not have like proper equipment.
It was like eight
to even satisfy
dumbbells.
them. Yeah, so I mean that was like the NCAA was trying to make excuses talking about COVID like stuff like made it hard to do stuff like it that's just like straight like just not.
It was
giving
terrible.
And they said they didn't have the room.
There's not really an excuse. There's not really an excuse.
And then all of a sudden,
there's not any excuse for it.
Room.
Exactly. Did you guys see that video?
Yeah.
And she was like, they said that we didn't have room, and then she panned out, and it was a whole basically not a warehouse.
Yeah.
But it was
I think it was a conference room.
It was huge, and they had one practice court. It was the size of like 4 NBA courts, just not used at all. So it was like, what do you don't obviously have? You have enough room. It's just like
I don't know if you guys saw it, but like the gift bags that the NCAA gave out, like the girls got like a water bottle and some socks.
They got, I think it was
and the
socks.
The men's got so many things like backpacks.
I think they got socks, a water bottle, and like a blanket. The men's got sweatshirts.
Like the bed was full.
Sweatpants, shorts, hats, socks, like cups. They got all the toiletries, like full-sized, like shampoo, body wash, conditioner, like everything that they needed. It's just so disrespectful. Like, I understand the WNBA and women's basketball in general isn't as popular as men's basketball, but still, there's no excuse for this.
I don't understand why they couldn't just use the same weight room. Maybe because of COVID. But
just because COVID, because they want to keep the teams.
I know, but
because it's probably like the teams themselves. Like, say they only have like 2 teams going at the same time to their weight room. They can't really do that with the girls.
I find it crazy. Like, you really thought that a rack of dumbbells was going to be enough? Like,
for what is it? Like 40 teams? Like, that's just so rude.
That's not fair at all.
How is one team going to go in there and get a workout in with dumbbells? Just dumbbells.
And they had 2 yoga mats. It was like dumbbells and 2 yoga mats. The food looked like plastic. It looked so bad.
The men are over there feasting.
The men had a whole buffet-style food, basically. It was like, I don't even know what they had. They had egg sausages. I think it was like pancakes, waffles. And then the women's just had like to-go containers of just like waffles, eggs. And it was like potatoes. And the bacon just looked straight uncooked. It was like, and then for dinner one night, they had like steak with just crazy sauce on it. And the steak was like plastic. Like, it It's just so it's terrible. It's just
That's
so
crazy. That's really sad.
I just feel bad for those teams going there, quarantining, getting everything set, just to lose in the first round. It's terrible.
Oh yeah. Speaking of that too, like also today, like it's crazy because I mean, obviously it's good to have like March Madness because we didn't have it last year because of COVID, but COVID still hasn't completely like let go of like March Madness because today too, the VCU Oregon game was canceled, so Oregon automatically advances to the next round, and that's obviously not fair to because it's not really it's definitely hard to make the tournament. Like it's not something you can do every year, especially when you're teams that aren't in a popular conference. So the team that got knocked out by default was VCU, and VCU was a pretty good team in the A10.
Right.
They're actually in the same league as like URI, like which is the school I go to. So like they're a pretty good team that had a really good player that obviously like he wanted to like make his name, and it's really sad to like get like that taken away before you even have an opportunity because of something you can't control.
And to know you got there, and then like you get there, you're in your hotel, you're so excited,
exactly.
you get the gift bag, for time. You don't get to play.
It's really sad.
I feel that, Daryl. That's really sad.
What was the team that it was like the walk-on got COVID?
I don't know.
Daryl, do you remember? It was like a walk-on got COVID, so they couldn't even go to the tournament. I don't remember.
Oh yeah, their spot got taken.
No, not even this. Yeah.
Their spot got filled because
I
think they qualified, but then someone got COVID. So
it wasn't. It was just a walk-on.
Imagine being that guy. Like you're gonna. Have
you
to
don't even have
you
barely have a chance to play for the team. And then you're the reason the team doesn't get to go to the tournament. That's sad. But yeah, so basically Illinois right now and Gonzaga are the two favorites to win the tournament. But some people are saying Gonzaga didn't because I think they're like 24 or 26-0 right now. But some people are saying they didn't really have to face a hard schedule. So I don't really know. We'll keep you guys updated as March Madness continues, and we really investigate and watch about what's unfolding. We really next week we'll have like our Final Four and like our picks to win. So talking about basketball, the NBA MVP, I think it's unanimous. We all have James Harden right now. And Daryl, why do you have James Harden? Who did you have before, and why do you have James Harden now?
So first of all, if Embiid was healthy, I'd have Embiid. Like I just would because at the end of the day, like he has for his team to be first right now, which like no one thought they were gonna be. Like that's like a huge testament to how dominant Embiid was. But due to both Embiid and LeBron James after getting injured today, I'm guessing like Embiid's probably gonna miss a few more weeks. LeBron's probably missed like three weeks, maybe two to 3 weeks, maybe. Yeah. So that gives a lot of time for. No, he said his ankle, and he said he's out indefinitely. So I'm guessing 2 to 3 weeks. Yeah. I'm guessing 2 to 3 weeks.
Did you see the video on that about what happened?
Yeah, so I mean, Solomon Hill was diving for the ball and he fell on his ankle.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's LeBron James. He'll probably be back soon, but still, like losing time, like in the MVP race. So, but because of that, James Harden is the person I have. He's been on a tear recently. The fact that without Kevin Durant, they're still scary.
Right.
They're a half game behind first place.
James Harden has been winning with and without their dynamic trio.
Yeah,
basically.
like even sometimes
he's been an assist machine, a triple double machine.
Right.
Games from March 13th to the 17th, he had 3 straight triple doubles. He's basically gets double digit assists every game. He averages like 11.2 or something like that. So I mean, he's really showing how good of a player he is. Like someone who can lead the league in scoring and also lead the league in assists. He's just a different type of basketball player.
Because you're talking about him leading his team to the second. What about Devin Booker and Chris Paul right now? They're leading to the Suns to the number 2 seed right now in the West, and I didn't think they were going to go for that. Do you think Devin Booker needs to receive something? What about Chris Paul? I feel
like wherever Chris Paul goes, he always like rises the team up. He's not really thought of like as a top point guard anymore. But like what he does with his leadership is unmatched. He did good at OKC
too. I didn't think he was going to do good at OKC.
His leadership is unmatched. He brought that young OKC team, brought him to the playoffs.
Devin Booker.
He's doing the same thing with Devin Booker this year. Even though Devin Booker's isn't his scoring down.
I don't even know.
That team's way better.
It's a little down.
It's a little down, but
he's still playing. Devin Booker's playing good basketball. I don't know as far to put him in MVP conversation, but just the team, the Suns as a whole has been playing like pretty good basketball. And like you're saying, Chris Paul has like a huge part of that.
What about Giannis? Do you guys think Giannis could also get into the race now that Embiid and LeBron are out?
I think Luka deserves it more than Giannis.
Because Giannis is averaging 30, 11, and 7.
At the same time, too, the Bucks are... Like, the Mavs are pretty low in the standings in the West. The Bucks are getting higher.
And the league loves Giannis. The league loves Giannis.
He won MVP 2 years in a row. So I think for voter fatigue, he might not win because nobody likes voting for the same guy over and over and over again. That's why I think Luka has a better chance. But because of what Daryl was saying with the standings and how Giannis's team is higher than the Mavericks, the Bucks are higher than the Mavericks.
And he's going to catch ground on Joel.
Right.
And he's going to catch ground on LeBron because neither of them are playing right now. So right now it's Harden and Giannis, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think Luka is right up there with Giannis.
Damian Lillard too. I put Damian Lillard above Luka even. If the Blazers can move a little bit higher,
he needs to get out of Portland. They don't have it.
He's not going to. He's not going to.
He's like Russ in OKC before he left.
Which I like that about him because
I do too.
And I heard a stat. The only two players who have been with the same team for 10 years in the NBA, Steph Curry and Damian Lillard.
It's crazy. Curry's not leaving.
No, he's a Warrior for life.
Are the Warriors even in the playoffs right now?
They're at the 9th seed, so they'll be in the playing game. But Steph Curry's also hurt too. So I mean, Steph Curry's not gonna be out for too long. He fell on his butt. He hurt his tailbone. So I mean, he's gonna miss a few games. But if Andrew Wiggins can step, Andrew Wiggins actually stepped up big last night. He had 40 points. So I mean,
did he actually have 40?
Just in tough. Yeah, he had 40 yesterday. So I mean, the Warriors in a tough position right now. But because it always does seem like when they're playing, Steph Curry's the only one who has offense.
Yeah.
So they need some consistency from Wiggins, Oubre, and maybe they can be a 7 seed or something like that.
So what about look at LaMelo? James Wiseman's putting on a show too. I don't think he can catch LaMelo for Rookie of the Year.
Is different.
He's doing so good. He's balling out right now. And LeVar even said
he's passing like a 10-year vet.
LeVar said that LiAngelo is still the better ball brother. He said he's the best one because he's built like LeVar. But
it's crazy to me because
he's joking.
It's crazy to me because
he's dead serious. He's not joking.
When he plays, you don't see a rookie trying to do as bold as stuff as he's trying to do. He's throwing
he's got straight confidence,
full court bombs and on the money every single time.
Well, because he was throwing up full court and half court shots in freshman year in high school, sophomore year in high school. Then he went overseas, played pro in Lithuania.
It's not even like he's playing bums. He's playing in the NBA, just throwing darts across the court.
Imagine Daryl Brady. Imagine say next year you're like, all right, tonight I got to go against LeBron. Tomorrow night I'm going against Giannis. The night after that I'm going against Curry. Then Dame. That's so crazy.
The NBA has so much talent right now.
Yeah, he's been playing great too.
So much talent.
It's so crazy. I'd love to be just that good at something. He's just and then we were talking about before the show, LeBron, right out of high school, and what is it, $1 million towards his body a year? Yep. Same like Russell Wilson, obviously Tom Brady. But imagine him not really taking care of himself all that much, not really eating right, drinking right in high school, just going up playing, and then just all right, we want you in the NBA. And right out of high school.
Regardless of that, since the day he got into the NBA, he's been the best player in the NBA.
Right. He's been one of the most dominant players.
Arguably, I think Kobe was better than him at that point, right?
Yeah.
In 03, 04.
At the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he's always been up there.
So yeah, James Harden right now, he's averaging 25 points per game, 8 rebounds, 11 assists, 47% from the field, and 36 from the three. I think his career 3-point and field goal percentage are basically right around there too. All right. I think that's all we have this week for the 5th episode of DBD Sports Show. Let's give it a round of applause. All right, Dale, thank you for joining us from home. And Daryl will actually be in studio next week with us. Make sure you guys shout us on Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. Have a good week, you guys.
Everyone have a good one.